Welcome to Pace Pilates. For this exercise you'll need a ball or a cushion. We're going to start standing with a bit of a warm-up. Taking the ball out in front of you, take a tiny tuck of the tailbone to find your neutral spine position. Draw the shoulders back and down, tuck in the chin and lengthen the neck. Soft knees, feet hip distance apart. Breathe out and rise up onto the balls of your feet. Inhale to lower back down to the mat. As you rise and lower, feel as if the floor is sticky and you're peeling your heels up off the floor, trying to keep your balance with the ball reached out in front of you. Your feet will naturally roll to the sides as your ankles adjust and help you balance. As you rise up, now take the ball between your hands and then lower the heels. Passing the ball between, widening the arms. For each rise up as you go. Think about taking the breath into your lower ribs. Then draw the ball down onto the thigh. Take the opposite arm up and over your head, inhaling to reach the arm tall to the ceiling, exhaling to go up and overhead. Try and increase the height of the reach each time. Repeat up to 5 times. Each time you're trying to roll the ball a little lower and reach your arm a little taller. Starting to step the feet a bit wider now, coming into some sweeping circles. Try not to make contact with the ground and keep your arms as long as you can. Watch the ball as it sweeps around. Soften the knees as you come down towards the floor. Remember, you can do this with your cushion. You're aiming for about 5 each way. Take as much pause as you need. You can get a little bit dizzy doing this. Bringing the feet a little closer in together. Taking into a half squat position, softening the knees, tailbone tucked under, bottom engaged, thighs engaged, body tall. Breathe out as you rotate. Breathe into the center. We're going both sides, thinking about drawing the shoulders down your back. Watching the ball as you twist, feeling the thighs working and the glutes. Aim for up to 5 repetitions each side. Coming to the back of your mat, come into some roll downs using the ball. Ball starts at your belly button, tailbone is tucked to find neutral. Roll the ball away from you, watching it as it goes. Take it to your lowest point and store it between your legs. Nod the head forwards and backwards. And turn the head side to side. Inhaling at the bottom, exhale to roll the ball all the way back up, drawing the shoulders back and down. Repeat again, as many times as you need. You're trying to articulate through the spine, get a little bit of movement through the back. This time making a cradle with the arms, swaying side to side, taking the ball with you as you come all the way back up. For our next roll down, we're going to add a plank. Come down and store the ball between the ankles or as low as you can go, walking the hands forward on your next out breath. You can stay in a high plank, or you can modify to your knees if you need to. You're thinking about pushing the floor away with the hands, maintaining neutral spine, drawing the shoulder blades down your back. Walk the hands back to your feet and curl up, taking the ball with you. Start to take the ball back down again and walk far out into your plank. This is another alternative. You can pop onto your knees, relax the feet. If the wrists start to hurt, you can also come onto your forearms, into your low plank. Note that we're still tucked in neutral spine, still pushing through the arms and the chest, drawing the shoulder blades down the back. Now come into your down dog position, pushing the bottom up to the ceiling, head relaxed between the arms. Start to paddle the feet to encourage the heels down to the floor, lengthening through the hamstrings. Nice stretch to start off with. We're going to come to seated now, so walking your hands back in, roll up with the ball and bring yourselves down onto the mat. With the ball between your knees, with or without the cat, Hold behind the backs of the thighs. We're keeping the head above the hips as we breathe out and round the back away from the thighs, trying to make a C shape with the spine. The hands are there for a bit of support, but also to brace against to help lift you up nice and tall. Think about growing some height through the back of your head, extending your spine. Reach the arms out now. Hinging at your hips, breathe out to come back a small distance. An inch or two is fine. Breathe out to hinge back. Inhale to come up. Deep breath in as you raise the arms. Exhale, sweep them round and onto the shins. Inhale to come up tall. Exhale, release the hands, hinging back. Inhaling to raise the arms, hold here. Take your time, 3 and 2, and on the last count, curl forwards, hugging the shins, nose to knees. We're aiming for up to 5 repetitions of these. I'm only showing you a few of the variations. We're now going to rotate to the side. So as you breathe out, open one arm to each side. You're keeping that little hinge back. Then raise the arms and rotate with them overhead. Don't expect a big range of motion. Do what you can, and then widen the arms and raise overhead, curling forwards to finish. Pop the ball between your feet. We're going to curl ourselves down onto the mat. So from a tall seated position, light hold behind the back of the thighs, tuck the chin to the chest, tuck the tailbone, and take your time to roll all the way down to the mat, reaching the arms up and overhead for a big stretch as you hit the mat. Deep breath in. Exhale, reach the hands to the ceiling, tuck the chin to the chest, round the back as you curl all the way up. If you get stuck, you can hold behind the thigh. We're going to go back down again. Deep breath in as the arms float overhead. Breathing out, tucking the chin to the chest, reaching the hands tall to the ceiling, remembering to tuck the tailbone to engage the back into the mat as you curl up. And on this one, stretch all the way out. Take a nice deep breath in. Curling all the way up. Lengthening through your spine. We're going up to 5 repetitions. And then we're folding forwards, nose to knees, to just stretch the back at the finish. Removing your ball. Come down to the mat and stay here. Bring the feet a little closer to the bottom. And maintain neutral spine. We're just going to tilt the pelvis, breathing out, softening the back into the mat. Breathing in to come back to neutral. Breathing out to tilt the hips, breathing into neutral. Moving forwards and backwards, and now adding a raised arm position. Fingertips to the ceiling, shoulder blades pressing into the floor. Breathing out to soften the back into the floor, imprinting the spine, breathing into neutral. Take your time for this. Start to raise your arms over your head as you exhale, softening the back into the floor. Inhaling to bring the arms over the chest as you inhale. I'm taking quite a pace on these ones. You can take your time, it's up to you how stiff your back feels. Maybe you want to take longer on the exercise. Bringing the hands down by your sides now. Lift and lengthen the left leg up to the ceiling. Allow your back to soften into the ground. Point and flex the left foot to get some movement into the ankle. Circle in both directions. And then with pointed toes, start to lower the leg without changing your back position. Flex the foot as you bring the leg back up. You're trying to use the stomach muscles to keep the back in the same position, drawing the shoulders down away from your ears. Pointed toes as we breathe out on the way down. Flexed feet to inhale and rise up. Hug the knee into your chest. And now raise the right leg into tabletop alongside you. Repeat the exercise with the left leg. A little neutral spine position if you can maintain. Breathe out, point the toes and lower. Flex the foot, travel the leg up. Notice how the range of motion has decreased now that we have both legs off the floor. Be mindful of your back. Stop the movement before you end up changing your back position. Now at your lowest point, we're going to drift the foot an inch out to the side and back in. Breathing out to take the toes out, breathing in to bring them back in. Up to 10 of these, and then hugging both knees into your chest. Softening the back, massaging it into the floor. We're going to repeat on the other side. So starting with both feet on the floor, lifting your right leg to tabletop and extending it up to the ceiling, pointing and flexing the foot and circling through the ankle. Neutral spine if you can, deep breath here. Point the toes. Start to take the leg down towards the floor. Far enough to feel the tummy and the hip flexor working, not so far that the back changes position. Flexed feet and an inhale to return to the top. Pointed toes and an exhale to travel down. We're looking for up to 10 of these before we add the left leg in tabletop, still trying to maintain neutral spine. Slightly reduced range of motion, protecting the back, not forcing the depth of the leg. Up to 10 repetitions. And then we take the leg down to your lowest point. Breathe out, drift the toes out. Breathe in, bring them back in. An inch is more than enough. Up to 10 of these, breathing out as the toes go out, breathing in as they come back in. Both knees into the chest to relax at the end, circling the back on the floor. Bringing your feet together now for our glute series. As I showed you on the video, zip the feet up together. And we're going to curl a little distance off the floor. This is by no means a shoulder bridge. An inch or two is high enough. Feet are touching and the knees are going to move out and in, keeping your hips as steady as you can. Up to 10 repetitions here. Slowly starting to peel the hips back down to the floor. Take the feet a small distance apart, not quite hip distance, somewhere in between. Roll through imprinted spine, squeezing your glutes and peel up off the floor. Open and close the knees. They don't have to make contact, but try and squeeze the glute muscles, the bottom muscles, as you're pushing the knees out, and keep an engagement on the inner thighs as you're drawing the legs closer together. Again, up to 10 of these, and then slowly rolling the hips back down to the floor and returning to neutral. We're going to step the feet a little bit wider, hip distance apart now. Deep breath in at the bottom, breathing out to roll the hips up off the floor, coming into your full bridge. Breathing out as you now lift one heel and then the other. Trying to maintain steady hip contact. Raise and lower both heels together. Try not to let the hips shimmy from side to side. And slowly peel your hips down to the floor. Deep breath at the bottom in neutral. Breathing out to roll your hips up. Now take the arms up and over your chest. Again, raising and lowering the heels, balancing onto the balls of the feet. Take the arms over your head, hips are still lifted. Start to take your hips slowly down to the mat. Enjoy that mid-back stretch. Neutral spine at the bottom. And recover your arms by your sides. Let's do that stretch again. Roll the hips up. Float the arms up and overhead. And slowly peel your hips all the way back down to the floor. Do as many of these as you need. They're a really nice stretch for the middle of your back. So we're going to start isolating one side of the glute muscles now. We're coming back up to our shoulder bridge. The left leg is coming to tabletop and it's extending to the ceiling. We're drawing up to 5 big sweeping circles, trying to keep the hips steady. Then without lowering our hips, sweep the other way. Up to 5 of these. And then bending the knee, returning the foot and rolling the hips all the way back down to the floor. Let's repeat on the other side. Deep breath in here. Breathing out, roll the hips up off the floor. Raise the right leg, extend to the ceiling. Go into your sweeping circles. Make them as dramatic as you can without moving your hips. Up to 5 repetitions in both directions. Careful not to let your hips sag as you're concentrating on your leg movement. And then bending the knee, returning the foot to the floor and peeling your hips all the way back down. Take the knees over your chest, one hand on each kneecap and circle them round. So we're going to add the ball now. If you don't have the ball, you can slide the feet away without resting them on one. It's a similar exercise. Make a cradle for your head and neck, interlacing your fingers behind the back of the head. Using the diaphragm, curl up, head, neck and shoulders off the floor. The left leg is going to straighten out, rolling away from you along the ball. You're gently pressing your back into the mat, maintaining imprinted spine. Now repeat with the right leg in tabletop. A little bit less stability now. See if it challenges your balance. Treat this as a bit of a stretch for the legs. We'll change the ball to the other side. Try and keep the head, neck and shoulders lifted throughout if you can, but by all means rest the head down if you need a break. Repeating with just the right leg rolling away. Left foot planted on the floor. Up to 5 repetitions and then take the left leg into tabletop position. Keep rolling the right leg away. Imprinting the spine gently down to the mat. Up to 5 repetitions here and then both feet stay on the ball and roll out together. Again, if you don't have a ball, you can easily just slide your feet along the floor. You get a similar sensation. Take the feet away from the ball. Hold behind the back of one thigh. Bring yourselves up to a seated position. If you prefer to roll on your side, that's absolutely fine. So we're going to work on our sides now. You need to be resting onto your forearm. And please be careful that your forearm and your elbow are directly underneath your shoulder. You want to be feeling as if you're pressing the floor away with your arm, creating as much of a gap underneath your upper body as possible. The top leg extends out and the top hand is resting on your hip. Lift and lower your top leg. Up to 10 of these. See how many you can do. And then progress into circles, about the size of your red ball. Breathing out in the tricky parts. If you're struggling, you can lower the leg just a little. Both directions. Again, up to 10 repetitions if you can. And next we come to the fun part. We're coming up onto our knees. The same leg is going to work. So rise into high kneeling position. Extend the same leg out to the side and reach your hand in the opposite direction. You're trying to bring your hand, your supporting knee and your straight leg in line with one another. Test your balance. Briefly lift your hand and your foot off the floor to maintain your body weight over the bent knee. You're trying to lengthen your body and have it in a straight line. Smile through the pain, lift and lower the leg. Supporting hand resting on your hip. You can add an extra cushion under your supporting knee if you want to. You should have light fingertip support on the mat. Go into your circles. Again, for all of these, it's up to 10 repetitions. See how many you can do. Small, controlled circles. Try not to lose your balance. Make sure the move comes from your hips. Bending both knees. Place the hand on top of your supporting hand and push into the hip that you've just been working. Like a sideways child's pose. Let's change sides. Starting down on the mat to begin with. Resting on your forearm, both knees bent. Elbow right underneath your shoulder. Pushing the floor away. Top hand onto your hip and extending the top leg. Lifting and lower to begin with. Up to 10 of these. Lightly tapping the toes to the mat. And then we're progressing into our circles. 5 in each direction. Up to 10 if you can manage. Try and make it even. If you did 6 on the other side, do 6 this side. There will always be a circling direction that feels a little bit more tricky. A good strong out breath can give you a bit more stability. Feel free to make them smaller if you need to. Now it's up onto the knees. So setting up, hand, knee and leg all in a line. Body nice and straight. Check for the balance. Momentary lift. And then feeling like you're balanced over your bent knee, lift and lower the straight leg. Again, up to 10 repetitions here. And then moving into your circles. You'll notice this is a trickier side. Keep breathing. Both directions. And then bending your knees. Coming down onto the mat, taking the hand over on top of the other one. Sideways child's pose stretch. Well done. We're coming back into seated now. A little bit of abdominal work. So you can use a cushion or your ball. Take it to halfway between your shoulder blades and your bottom. Lean onto the ball with bent knees. You should feel a little bit of engagement in the tummy, and when you reach the hands behind the head, that engagement should intensify. If it's too much, roll the ball towards your shoulders. If it's not enough and you want to work a little harder, roll the ball towards your bottom. As you breathe out, reach one arm up and overhead, sweep it round to the side. Try not to knock into the furniture like I do. You're meeting the hand to your thighs as you sweep it round. Trying to keep the back soft, trying to keep the ribs pulling down towards the hips. And reach both arms. I move fairly fast in these. It's not a particularly comfortable position for your neck. So we try and get up to 10 repetitions through. Again. Rolling onto the ball, taking it to your shoulder blades to relax. From here, use this as a stretch. So start to roll onto it, not over it. The head isn't going to come to the floor. Use the diaphragm to pull the body up, engaging your abdominals. Breathe out as you open onto the ball, feeling some space between your ribs. If you feel like you are using your hands to pull your head, you can take the fingers to the temples, but it won't be quite as relaxing for your neck. So take your time and go slowly here. Consider this a stretch. As many repetitions as you like, holding them for as long as you like. If you feel you really need to open your chest, rest. Bring the hands down onto the floor either side of you to lift you up. I'm just going to show you how it works with the cushion. Play around with the positioning of your cushion. It's a little lower. I have a small cushion, so I found this a little bit more challenging. Using it for my stretches, it also became a little bit of an abdominal exercise. Breathing out as I leant onto it, breathing in as I come back up. You can also use a rolled up towel or fold a pillow in half. A few repetitions here, take your time. Pushing into the floor to bring yourselves back up. We'll come onto all fours. Place the ball to behind the back of your left thigh. We're going to lock it in place by pulling the heel in towards your bottom. Most important here is the setup of your back. Tuck the tailbone into neutral. Draw the shoulder blades down your back. Feel as if you're pressing the floor away with your hands. Lengthened neck position. Breathe out and push the knee out behind you. You're not worrying about the height that the knee travels to. You're thinking about maintaining your back position. Up to 10 repetitions here, pulling the heel into the bottom, activating the hamstrings. Sit up if you need to rest your hands at any point. You can also do this on fists or even on your forearms. I'm now adding a reach with the opposite hand, trying to challenge my balance. Again, trying to maintain my back position. Try up to 10 repetitions here. Take a cat stretch to ease the back out in between. Tucking the chin to the chest, rounding the back and tucking the tailbone. Change the ball to the other side. Breathe out as you push the knee back. Trying to maintain the back position. It's quite good to get someone to film you doing this if you're not sure. See how your back responds. If you feel like it's steady, check the video. Again, you can add a reach with the opposite arm if you want to challenge your balance. If at any stage the ball vanishes, rather than scrabbling around looking for it, just keep going. Draw the heel to the bottom. Think about extending through the knee, maintaining your back position. Cat stretching to get the back into a nice eased out position. Take the ball away and slowly lower your bottom onto your heels. Roll forwards and then arch to come back. Bent elbows rolling forwards. Just moving however your back wants to. We're going to come into seated position now for a little bit of balance. Extend your legs out in front and draw your left shin in towards you. Sit as tall as you can. Use holding onto your shins to give you some stability, lengthening your spine. Feel your sit bones under your bottom and then take a little lean back so both feet clear the floor. Good old circle time. Breathe out. Sweep from the hip into 5 smooth, controlled circles. You can do more repetitions if you want. Go both directions. You'll notice there's a lot more body wobble on one direction than the other. Keep the breath going. As you come to the end of your repetitions, lengthen the legs out onto the floor and fold forwards, reaching as far down as you can. Come back up, change sides, draw the right shin in towards you. Rock gently back off the sit bones, use the tummy, lengthen the spine. Start to circle with pointed toes, activate the thigh as well as the hips and the glutes. Start with 5 repetitions, build on them if you want to. Make sure you go both directions. Try and control the side to side wobble. At the end of the repetitions, lower the legs, extend them away, fold forwards for a big stretch. Take the legs wide Sit on a block here if your hamstrings feel tight, and you can soften the knees if that's more comfortable. We're going to walk the hands out in front, rounding the back, stretching forwards. Deep breaths as you sink down, softening the elbows. Then return the hands in, reach tall. Feel as if you're creating more space between ribs and hips. Round your back as you fold forwards. Reach as far as you can. Feel the stretch inner thighs, lower back and through the backs of the shoulders. Start to bring yourselves back up again for a little bit of saw rotation. Take the arms wide. Twist towards your left leg. Take the back of the right hand to the outside of the left leg. The opposite arm is reaching out behind you. Breathe in as you sit tall. Breathe out as you twist and fold forwards. Repeat as many times as you want. Don't force this movement. Come as far forwards as you want to. You're trying to make sure that your torso is twisted towards the leg. You're folding the forehead down towards the knee. Come all the way up. Bring the legs in and find a comfortable seated position just for the head and neck stretch. Take one hand over the top of the head. Pull the ear towards the elbow. Lengthen through the opposite side of the neck. Again, don't force these stretches. Take your time. Only go as far as you're comfortable. Repeat on the other side. And then come back up. Sitting tall, draw the chin down to the chest, pull the shoulder blades in the opposite direction. Rolling the head to one shoulder, down to the chest, over to the other shoulder, and down to the chest. Slowly unfurling the head, back up to the start position, and rolling the shoulders back and down. Well done, you've made it.